Hello everyone and welcome to my PowerPoint presentation of learning another language. I'm going to start by talking about my personal connection to this. When I was 17 years old, I had the opportunity to go to the Dominican Republic and do some community service work, and I worked in a school with a bunch of little kids ages 2 to 4, and I came into this country knowing no Spanish, knowing really nothing because I didn't really apply myself into my high school Spanish classes. And I have to point out that throughout this entire trip, I had found myself so frustrated that I could not speak to these little kids and to locals around them, and that I really felt like such an outsider to the point where I was uncomfortable because it was so different from what I was used to. And from that, I really kind of grew a desire to learn another language as I am a Spanish major. And talk about why language. Why is language so important? Well, it's the foundation of humanity. Language is a crucial means of communicating and interaction because it reflects and expresses facts, observations, and is a huge influence of our attitudes and behaviors. And because it's so influential, we don't really consider what this could do for people. I had recently conducted an interview with Manuel Gomez here at Boise State University, and I asked him from a teacher's point of view, who is an international teacher, why learning another language is so important. And he explained that it opens your eyes to life's realities, and that you get an insight of how the world works around us, and that when you learn another language, you learn about that specific culture of what they do, why they do, and kind of understand like what gives them that identity. And because you're learning that, you automatically kind of get connected within that community, and you almost sometimes you can even feel a part of it. And so really touch on that this doesn't just apply to a foreign language. Language is a very powerful tool that we've all used in our day-to-day lives. It exemplifies DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And through this, it further amplifies our empathy, our compassion, and clarity to understand each other, to understand other cultures, because as humans, we all have intersectional, varied identities and experiences that make us who we are. And so thinking about that, I want to touch on that we need to consider people who have cognitive disabilities, who may suffer from blindness or are deaf. And I really want to express that these people have such a hard time communicating their difficulties and to cope independently, and that they need this constant support. That language doesn't just apply to international. We need to think about people who can't communicate and need to know how to communicate. And this kind of raises up the question of, why does this affect you? Well, it affects you because you're able to create an instant connection. It gives you the opportunity to be a part of a community that's not of your own ethnic group, because in return, it lets us learn about the world around us. And I wanted to point out this norm that we have created as not only the United States, but as a whole, that when people come into the United States, or us Americans go to a foreign country, we always have created this idea that if these people can't speak English and can't apply themselves to us, then they're just automatically in the wrong. And it's so interesting to see in the return that other cultures kind of take it on as their own problem and see it as, well, if I can't speak their language, I'm going to try and learn English. I'm going to try and learn another language because it's important for me to communicate with them. And so that is presentation. Thank you all for listening, and yeah.